Hare Krishna. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Shwapadantikam. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jutapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Shahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Shajivam Sadvaitam Shavadutam Parijana Shaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Ladita Sri Visakanvitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Shindu Dinabhandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantha Radha Kantha Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam banebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Kayate Girim Jat Kripa Tamhang Bande Sri Gurun Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. So welcome to our Bhakti Sastri. So today we will start the unit 2 of the Bhakti Sastri, which consists of the 7th to 12th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Yeah. So just to remind us again about the first part, the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, there actually Krishna explains to Arjuna about karma yoga. Okay, so in general, the Bhagavad Gita divided into 3 parts. The first 6 chapters is about karma, and then the middle 6 chapters about bhakti, and then the last 6 chapters about jnana. But if we really analyze the whole Bhagavad Gita is actually consists of only bhakti. Yeah, especially when we read Srila Prabhupada's purport, we find only bhakti. Yeah. So, well, in the first chapter, it's explaining about the bewilderment of Arjuna, yeah, and about diplomacy also. Therefore, the first chapter is actually entitled the Arjuna Visada Yoga. That means the yoga about Arjuna's bewilderment. Yeah. So because of Arjuna is put in such a bewildered situation by Krishna's internal potency, the Yoga Maya. So that's how the conversation started. Yeah, how the conversation started. And that's actually lead to ultimately bhakti. Yeah, in the second chapter, Krishna, well, the title is Samkhya Yoga, but actually Krishna already discussed about the yoga ladder to Arjuna, but not in the systematic way. Yeah, not in the systematic way. And ultimately, the second chapter ended by how Arjuna was asking about the Stita Pragya. Stita Pragya means a person who fixed in spiritual practice, in Krishna consciousness. That's how Srila Prabhupada translate that word, Stita Pragya, one who fixed in his determination to practice Krishna consciousness. So Arjuna was asking like Stita Pragya, Shakabhasha, how they talk, yeah, how they talk, how they behave, how they walk, things like this. Arjuna was asking. So ultimately, Krishna explained about the symptoms of the devotee. So the second chapter is ended by bhakti again. And then in the third chapter about karma yoga. So Krishna start in the beginning about karma kanda, actually worshipping the demigods. So that's how actually the yoga ladder start from the chapter 3. Yeah, by the cooperation between the human being and the demigods. So we will be living in this material world prosperously. Yeah, and it leads actually toward the end. Krishna explained about what is the biggest enemy. The biggest enemy is lust. Yeah, kama aisa, krodha aisa, rajoguna samudbhava. So kama and krodha, these actually appear due to the influence of the mode of rajoguna. Yeah, and ultimately we have to defeat this kama, lust. Yeah, and then how to do that? Srila Prabhupada explained in the purport by bhakti. And then in chapter 4 about jnana. So there also Krishna explained about the purpose of why he incarnates himself. Yeah, again and again, why he incarnates himself. Yada yada hi dharmasya. And also toward the end, Krishna explained about the importance of varnashram. Yeah, Chaturvarna Maya Srishta Guna Karma Vibhagas, that verse. And ultimately he explained about approaching the spiritual master, that Vidi Pranipatina. Yeah, without approaching the spiritual master, one cannot achieve the perfection in spiritual practice. Yeah. So approaching a spiritual master is very important item. In fact, Rupa Goswami explained in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that's actually the first thing out of the 64 angas of bhakti. So Ado Guru Ashraya, the first thing he mentioned that approaching, taking shelter of the spiritual master, Ashraya, taking shelter. And then in the chapter 5 actually karma yoga and Krishna consciousness. So it is called also the karma sannyas yoga. So one's performing activities and without being attached with the result of one's activities. Yeah, and just uh, utilize the result of one's activities in Krishna consciousness. So karma sannyas yoga is also known as buddhi yoga, yeah, or Krishna consciousness. That's how Srila Prabhupada compiled the word, yeah, karma yoga or buddhi yoga or Krishna consciousness. Because ultimately the word yoga means to connect with Krishna. Yuj mean to connect. So to whom we should connect, everything should be connected to Krishna. And then in the chapter 6, obviously that Krishna talks about different level of yogis, and also Krishna explained about the destination, because Arjuna was asking what happened to those yogi who is not attaining the perfection in this life. So Krishna explained about Suchinam Srimatam Gehe Yogo Brashto Vijayate. Then they will take birth again as human form, as human being in the family of a Brahmana or a rich person. Yeah. And toward the end, Krishna explained about yoginam apisharvesham madgatinandara. So out of all yogis, because Krishna is explaining about different types of yogi. Krishna was explaining about different type of yogis. And then out of all yogis, one who is always constantly meditating upon Krishna. So he is the topmost yogi. Yeah, yoginam api sharvesham madgate nantar atmana sradhavan bhajati, and worshipping Lord Krishna with full faith. Yeah, sradhavan bhajati, with full faith worshipping Krishna. Samyukta tamumatha. That's my opinion, Krishna says. That's his opinion. So chapter 6 end by devotional service. And then chapter 7 will start by devotional service. Krishna ended the chapter 6 by mentioning that the best yogi is one who constantly meditating upon him, worshipping him with love. Yeah. And in chapter 7, Krishna start with Maya Asakta Mana Partha. Maya Asakta Mana Partha, attaching one's mind to Krishna. Maya Asakta, Asakta means attraction. So our mind should be always connected to Krishna by thinking about Krishna's lotus feet. And then what is the method? Krishna explained to Arjuna, Tat Shrinu, by hearing. Yeah, by hearing. If we constantly hearing about Krishna's pastimes, then automatically the mind will become attached to Krishna. So That's the base for our today's session. Start. Yeah. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita deal primarily with karma yoga, the middle 6 chapters with bhakti, and then last 6 chapters with jnana yoga. So Krishna explained in chapter 6 that the yogi most intimately united with him was thinking of him within. Yeah. Now the seventh chapter explain how one can become such a conscious person. By engaging in devotional service, one gained determination, faith, drida vrata. Drida vrata. Actually, this uh, will be explained by Krishna on the toward the end. Yeah, in the text number 28, where Krishna says to Arjuna, Yesam tu antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajantimam drida. So that's the goal actually. Why we are practicing our daily sadhana is just to become a Drida Vrata means having determination, firm determination to worship Krishna. This is called Drida Vrata, unshake faith. So there are 3 levels of devotees, as we many times heard it. Yeah, the Kanista, Madhyama, and Uttama. What makes it different? It's actually the level of their faith. Srila Prabhupada many times mentioned that at least we have to raise our platform, our position on the Madhyama platform. Yeah, because the Kanista, they don't have strong faith. Their faith is very weak, and also knowledge is not so strong. Therefore, the Kanista will be very easily fall down, will be deviate. And then the Madhyama, they have strong faith, although sometimes they don't have like strong knowledge, strong philosophy. But because they have firm faith, therefore they will not fall down. And Uttama, of course, strong faith, and also philosophically they're very advanced. So Drida Vrata. Yesam tu antagatam papam. Be free from sins. Yeah. Therefore we take a vow to chant 16 rounds minimum every day. Yeah, minimum every day. That's actually in order to nullify. Well, of course, we should not think that we are chanting to nullify our sinful reaction, but that's automatically taking place. Yeah, automatically taking place. All right. So these are the topics of our discussion today. Hopefully, we can cover till text number 14. Yeah. So from 1 to 7, knowing Krishna in full by hearing about him. So Krishna mentioned Maya Sakta Manaparta. Asakta means to attach our mind to Krishna by touching. And then from 8 to 12, knowing Krishna is the source of both material and spiritual energies. And then from 13 to 14, the 3 modes are controlled by Krishna, therefore surrender. So in the text 14, Krishna explained to Arjuna, Daivi Hiesha Gunama. We will look into that verse later. So we will start text number 1, chapter 7. Yeah. Knowledge of the Absolute, chapter 7, entitled Knowledge of the Absolute. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, now here, Tat Trinu. Krishna immediately tells Arjuna here, Tat Trinu. Now here, O son of Pritha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. Interesting. Where Krishna mentioned there, Yogam Yunjan Madasraya. Yeah, Yoga Yunjan Madasraya. Practice yoga, Mad Asraya. Asraya means taking shelter of me. Yeah, Asraya, taking shelter. But Srila Prabhupada translate this word ashraya as in consciousness of me, and he put in bracket in Krishna consciousness. So in full translation, Srila Prabhupada give here, by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me. So ashraya, taking shelter, means we are completely conscious of Krishna. We are taking shelter of Krishna means we are completely conscious of Krishna. We are completely Krishna conscious. Yeah. Yoga yunjan mad ashraya asansayam samagramam. Asansaya means no doubt, or therefore Krishna mentioned here that asansayam, free from doubt. Yeah, free from doubt. Yatha gyasasi tachinam. Therefore, hear from me. Sit here. Just like a businessman. Prabhupada gave an example. Just like a businessman, what is the activities of a businessman? Always searching about the opportunity, how he can make a good profit by hearing some information, collecting some information, and then his mind become attached with the business. So similarly, we also in Krishna consciousness like that. If we keep hear about Krishna, pravrista karnarandrena swanam bhava saroruham dunoti shamalam Krishna salilasya yatashara. So karnarandrena means the whole of our ear. The whole of the ear should be utilized to hear about Krishna Katha or anything related to Krishna, the pastime of Lord Krishna or the pastime of Lord Krishna's devotees. Yeah, because Krishna Katha means not only about Krishna, but also about Krishna's devotees. Because Krishna can never be alone. Krishna never be alone. Yeah, he always pastime means activities, and activities means in order to get some pleasure, you have to have some other friends, some other person to interact with you. Then pleasure will come. Okay. So yeah, we will see Srila Prabhupada's purport. Tachinum. This is very important word here. Tachinum means to hear. Srila Prabhupada said, one should therefore begin yoga practice as directed in the last verse of the 6th chapter. Yeah, the Yoginam Apisharvesham. Concentration of the mind upon Krishna, the Supreme, is made possible by prescribed devotional service in 9 different forms, of which Shravanam is the first and most important. Yeah, Prabhupada said Shravanam is the most important. The Lord therefore says to Arjuna, Tatrinu, or hear from me. No one can be greater authority than Krishna. And therefore, by hearing from him, one receives the greatest opportunity to become a perfect Krishna conscious person. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness, one can understand the signs of Krishna. Okay. So hearing, we are talking about hearing here, because as Srila Prabhupada mentioned that there are 9 processes of devotional service given by Prahlad Maharaj in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And the first one is Shravanam. Of course, for us now in Kali Yuga, both Shravanam and Kirtanam are actually, I would say that's the foundation of our Krishna consciousness. Yeah, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the instruction to Rupa Goswami, yeah, that actually while we are growing the creeper, the bhakti creeper, yeah, Shravan, Kirtan, Joli, the Shravanam and Kirtanam is like the watering process. Then the bhakti will grow. So therefore, we, especially as ISKCON members, we are stressing so much on these 2 processes, yeah, Shravanam and Kirtanam. Yeah, Shravanam and Kirtanam, and that actually will lead to Smaranam, remembering the Lord. Yeah, and Prabhupada explained in his purport that hearing is very important, but we should choose also from whom we should hear. Yeah, not from any random people. Yeah, but we should hear from Krishna or Krishna's devotee. Because Krishna and Krishna's devotee, they are in line. They have same intention. Just want to invoke bhakti in our heart. And who can understand Krishna? With whom Krishna revealed himself? Krishna chose Arjuna because Bhakto Sime Sakha Cheti. Chapter 4, we have discussed this. Bhakto Sime Sakha Cheti Rahashyam Hyetadutamam. So this knowledge, this science is Rahasya. Rahasya means secret, yeah, confidential. But even though that's very confidential, Krishna revealed himself, revealed this knowledge to his devotee, yeah, Bhaktosi, Sakacheti, his devotee and friend, Arjuna. So, therefore, we should hear only from devotee of the Lord, because the devotee of the Lord understand clearly about Krishna Tattva. Jai Krishna Tattva Veta Say Guru Hoy. Yeah, Kiba Vipra, Kiba Nyasi Sudra Kenenoi, Jai Krishna Tattva Veta Say Guru Hoy. It doesn't matter if, although one is born in the Brahmana family, Sudra family, as long as he knows the tattva about Krishna, Jai Krishna Tattva Veta, and then say Guru Hoy, he can become a guru. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada many times he mentioned in his lecture about professional Srimad Bhagavatam reciters. Yeah. So to hear from that kind of people, actually, it's fruitless. Yeah, we should not hear because they may misguide us. First of all, the purpose why they're conducting, for example, like here in India, the Bhagavad Saptaha is very popular, especially during Janmashtami. There are so many places, people conducting this Bhagavad Saptaha, talk about Krishna's confidential pastimes, directly going to the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam about the Rasa Lila. But we should not hear from a non-devotee. That's very dangerous, especially from the Mayavadi. Mayavada Bhasha Shunile Hoy Sarvanash. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained this. Mayavadi Bhasha Shunile Hoy. We should not hear, especially from the Mayavadi. Hoy Sarvanash. Everything will be destroyed. Our bhakti will be destroyed if we hear the speech of a Mayavadi. Yeah. So at the same time, we have to stressing so much about hearing, and in another hand, we have to choose from whom we should hear. Yeah. Of course, as a devotee, we understand that we should hear only from another devotee, because devotee understand Krishna Tattva. How devotee understand about Krishna Tattva? Because devotee has love for Krishna, and Krishna revealed himself only to those who have love for him. Yeah. Bhaktya tu ananyaya sakya aham evam vidur drastum. Bhaktya tu ananyaya sakyam aham evam vidur juna gyatum drastum chatat vena pravistum cha parantapa. In 11th chapter, toward the end, Krishna explained this to Arjuna, that only through devotional service I can be understood. Yeah, not by any other method. The same thing is actually repeated at the end of Bhagavad Gita. In the 18th chapter, we'll see that Bhaktya Mama Bijanati Yavanya Chasmitatvada. Krishna explained that again to Arjuna. All right. And then text number 2. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. Krishna mentioned to Arjuna that if you know this sign, now whatever I'm going to speak, if you know this sign, then it's enough. Nothing more I will tell you. It's enough. Actually, throughout these chapters, so whenever Krishna starts a new chapter later, Krishna will tell Arjuna that now listen, I'm going to give you a better knowledge than whatever I have given you before. Almost in few chapters, Krishna start with that. Please listen to me now. This is the most confidential. And then please listen to me. This is the best knowledge that I'm going to give to you. And here in the 7th chapter, Krishna mentioned to Arjuna that if you know these signs, there is nothing more. That's the end of our conversation. But we still have another uh, 11 chapters to go. Let's see Srila Prabhupada's purport. Complete knowledge includes knowledge of phenomenal world, the spirit behind it, and the source of both of them. Yeah, phenomenal means the material world. Yeah. The Lord wants to explain the above mentioned system of knowledge because Arjuna is Krishna's confidential devotee and friend. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, Bhaktosime Sakachati. In the beginning of the 4th chapter, this explanation was given by the Lord, and it is again confirmed here. This is a lecture by Srila Prabhupada in Hyderabad, 1974. Just like in the scientific departments of colleges, there are, for understanding anything scientifically, there are two divisions, practical and theoretical. So Jnanam is theoretical and Vijnanam means practical. Simply to know there is God, this is theoretical knowledge. But when actually you become connected with God, you practice the godly activities. That is called Vijnanam. So Krishna will explain in this chapter the knowledge of God, both theoretically and practically. Jnanam teham sa vijnanam vakshyami. I shall speak to you. Seshata. Aseshataha means. Shesha means remaining. Yeah. Shesha means remaining. Ashesha means no remaining. That means finished. Krishna is promising Arjuna here. If you understand the science, that's it. Our study is over. Yeah. And now here in this verse, Krishna is explaining to Arjuna that how rare it is people who can understand the science. Anybody can recite this verse? Any of you? Just unmute and recite it.
Manusyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatati siddhaye yatataamapi siddhanam kaschin mam veti tattvataha.
You can go ahead with the translation, Prabhu.
Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth.
Yeah. And this one also, please.
Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes, the primeval Lord Govinda, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. It is very difficult for the non-devotees to know him. Although non-devotees declare that the path of bhakti or devotional service is very easy, they cannot practice it. If the path of bhakti is so easy as the non-devotee class of men proclaim, then why do they take up the difficult path? Actually, the path of bhakti is not easy. The so-called path of bhakti practiced by unauthorized persons without knowledge of bhakti may be easy, but when it is practiced factually according to the rules and regulations.
Yeah. So, Jugala Kishwara Prabhu, since you uh, unmuted, so what is your realization about this verse? 7.3, Manushyanam Sahasrit. What is your thought?
Though
Would you like to share?
we think we know Krishna fully, but it is not possible to know completely, because if we know him completely, we, for me, in my present situation itself, I am saying I'm following Krishna consciousness, but still I'm not connected fully with Krishna consciousness. As per the conscious, I'm not thinking always Krishna, so still I'm involved in many other activities, material activities. So like this also it happens. but completely, as previously you said, once if we always thinking of Krishna, we won't bother about what is happening. So completely dependent on Krishna is not there still. So like that, I'm feeling.
Very nice. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So yes, to understand Krishna fully is not possible. Not possible to understand Krishna fully. Even sometimes Krishna bewilder of his own energy. Yeah. In one place it is described that I was listening to one lecture. It is explained that sometimes Krishna bewilder by his own energy. So for example, today Krishna sleep, and then whenever he wakes up in the morning, so he feels that his energy is increasing. And then he was wondering how this has happened. How this has happened. Yeah. But of course, a pure devotee can understand Krishna. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explained that a pure devotee can understand about Krishna up to some extent, because it is impossible to understand Krishna completely. Yeah, because we are the small jiva. How can we understand Krishna, who is like full of vibhuti, full of opulence? Yeah. So Krishna mentioned also here that Manushyanam Sahasreshu. Yeah, Manushyanam Sahasreshu. Out of Sahasra means thousands, thousand and millions probably. Sahasra means, unlimited numbers, a lot, so much. Manushyanam Sahasreshu. Kachit Yatati Siddhai. Hardly out of many people, hardly one attained perfection. Siddha means perfection. Kachit Yatati Siddhai. Out of those attain the perfection, hardly one knows Krishna in truth. Now, you may think that this word siddhanam that Krishna mentioned here, what does it mean? For us, like perfection means you attain perfection. Yeah, perfection. Yeah, perfect. It's perfect. That means no defect. But even then, out of those attain the perfection, still hardly people know Krishna in truth. So what does perfection here mean by Krishna? Anybody would like to comment on that? When Krishna mentioned here, perfection. Yeah, you see? And those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. Okay. So what Krishna meant here by siddhanam here, perfection means what? What is the use of being perfect, but you cannot understand Krishna? Anybody would like to answer that question? Okay, here there is one in the chat. Vanamali Prabhu gave us a quote from Madhya Lila. Prabhu kohe mayavadi Krishna aparadi Brahma Atma Chaitanya kohe niravadi. Nice. Okay, Vanamali Prabhu, would you like to answer? Would you like to comment on that? What Krishna meant by Siddhanam here, perfection? My question would be, what is the use of being perfect, but you don't understand Krishna?
Uh, there is no use in being perfect and don't know who is Krishna.
Okay. Then what Krishna meant by Siddhanam here? What kind of perfection? What kind of perfection?
I have not read the words word.
Okay, probably any other devotees would like to try that.
Means I think like we are not this body. We we are soul. We are jiva. We are separate from this body. So we are spirit energy. Something like that is kind of perfection. But
Okay.
how it is connected, like that one, we don't know. Based on
Jagoro Prabhu, would you like to comment on that? Would you like to share something? Yeah, actually, he wrote a personal message here. Getting cities or yogic perfection. He mentioned that there are various types of perfection, but that's not Krishna consciousness. Getting cities or yogic perfection is not knowing Krishna fully, only till Paramatma form. Yes, thank you. Yeah, perfection. There are different level of perfection. Right? There are different levels of perfection. Like attaining the Astasidi, 8 types of mystic yogic perfection. So that's also perfection. Attaining liberation, also perfection. It is mentioned also in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Muktanam Arpishidanam. What is it? Muktanam Arpishidanam Narayana Parayanaha Sudurlabha Prashantatma Kotishwapi Mahamune. Yeah. Out of millions of men who are liberated, Muktanam, Apishidhanam, uh, one may attain perfection. That means those who are liberated is there are different types of liberation. And then the best person amongst those who are liberated is that Narayana Parayana, one who surrendered to Lord Narayana. And then Kotiswapi Mahamune, and that person is considered to be the greatest Atma, the greatest person, yeah, the greatest holy man, Mahamuni, Sudurlabha Prashantatma, and that person is very, very rare. Same thing here also mentioned by Krishna. So yes, there are different type, different level of perfection, and of course the topmost of the perfection that we are talking here is that devotee when we surrender to Krishna. Yeah, being liberated is not actually our goal, not actually the highest goal, I would say. We want to be liberated, yeah, but liberation is not actually the topmost goal. Our topmost goal is just to surrender to Krishna. We want Krishna's service. We want to render service to Krishna. Yeah. So even a pure devotee would reject sometimes liberation. But what kind of liberation? Impersonal liberation. Yeah. For example, like the Mayavadi sannyasis, they completely understand that they are not the body. That's also a perfection in life. Yeah, that is Sankhya. When we Sankhya means actually to count, and Sankhya means also to separate between matter and spirit. Yeah, to calculate. This is Sankhya. So when one understands that he's not the body, that means he's on some level of perfection. But the problem with the Mayavadi is that they don't accept the existence of God. In fact, they want to merge with God. Means they are thinking everybody is God. So their perfection is just half. It's just a halfway. Aham Brahmasmi. That's it. But for the devotee, there is more beyond this Aham Brahmasmi. More than that is, okay, I'm the spirit soul, and my position is the eternal servant of Krishna. Thank you. The next verse, Bhumirapo nalo vayu kamang gurire vacha ahankara iti yami binna prakritir astada. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. All together, these 8 constitute my separated material entities. So now Krishna is explaining about the phenomenal world. Yeah, the material world. This material universe, material world consists of Krishna, Bahiranga Sakti, his lower energy. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada in his purport discusses about the Purusha Avatar in his purport. Yeah. So briefly here, actually, Srila Prabhupada describe about the creation, yeah, the creation. So from Mahavishnu, of course, Mahavishnu is ultimately, from Krishna. His first expansion is Balaram, and then from Balaram appeared the first Chaturvyuha, and then from the Sankarsan of the first Chaturvyuha appeared the second Chaturvyuha, and then from Sankarsan of the second Chaturvyuha appear these three Vishnus, yeah, Mahavishnu or Karanodakasai Vishnu, and then when he breathes out, so millions of universes appears, and then Krishna, another expansion of the Lord, enter into each universe, yeah, and he resides there as Garbhodakasai Vishnu. And then because this universe is just like in a closed room, it's hot, so normally when it is hot, you're in a closed room, so you sweat. From the sweat of Garbhodakasai Vishnu, his sweat is not like our sweat. His sweat is milk. Half of the universe filled up with his sweat in the form of milk. Yeah. And then from that, another expansion inside this universe, another expansion is known as the Paramatma or Kshirodakasai Vishnu. Kshirodakasai Vishnu has his own island called Sweta Dwipa, white island in this part of the universe. Yeah. And then he, although he remained there in Sweta Dweep, yet he enters into every atom. So Srila Prabhupada talks about this Purusha incarnation. Yeah. Purusha avatar. And Prabhupada mentioned, anyone who knows these three Vishnus can be liberated from material entanglement. Amazing. Srila Prabhupada said, if you know about these three Vishnus, this three Purusha incarnation, Mahavishnu or Karanodakasai Vishnu, Garbhodakasai Vishnu, and Kshirodakasai Vishnu. If you know this science about these three Vishnus, you will be free from material entanglement. How is it? Anybody would like to answer? How? Simply by knowing these three Vishnus, one will be free from material entanglement. What is the logic behind it? Because we are practicing Krishna consciousness, as Srila Prabhupada mentioned, religion without philosophy is just sentiment. Yeah, philosophy without religion is just mental speculation. So we are practicing Krishna consciousness, and we have base why we are practicing this Krishna consciousness life, why we are practicing these religious activities. Because we have base, we have strong foundation, we have philosophy. If we just simply do it without philosophy, then it's just sentiment. You are using your sentiment, well, which is good, but it's better if we know the philosophy behind why I'm doing it. Yeah, why I'm doing it. Anybody would like to answer that question? How? What is the logic that simply by knowing these three Purusha incarnations, one will be free from material entanglement? Srila Prabhupada said that. Anybody?
So
Yes, one of the Prabhu.
I remember the slok half only. There's in Bhagavatam, Satyam Vidatu Nijabhittam Bhashitam Stambe Samayam Namrigam Naman.
Yeah,
So
Prahlad Maharaj.
middle part I've forgotten. So malab, to fulfill his pure devotees Prabhupada's word, this will happen.
Okay. Nice. I never thought about that, but that's actually nice. Yeah. Thank you, Vanamali Prabhu. Satyam vidatum nijabritya bhasitam vyaktim chabuteshva kileshu chatmana adrishyata tyadbhuta rupamudaham stambe sabayam namrigam namanusham. Hiranyakasipu was asking Prahlad Maharaj, where is your God? Is your God in this pillar? And Prahlad Maharaj said, yes. And then Hiranyakasipu hits the pillar and Lord Nrsimhadev appeared. Why Lord Nrsimhadev appeared specifically from the pillar? Because Prahlad Maharaj's word is Satyam Vidatum. Whatever words of a pure devotee, uh, whatever pure devotee says, Krishna will fulfill that. Just like now we are in the Damodar Mass, many devotees giving lecture, and of course the pastime of Lord Krishna being bound, and then he dragged this mortar and finally stuck into Arjuna trees, and these two trees fell off, and Manigriva and Nalakwara got liberated. Krishna doesn't have any business with these two guys, the sons of Kuera, nothing. But because Nard Muni said, yes, don't worry, you will be cursed, but you will be liberated by Krishna. And Krishna has to do that because pure devotee said that. So Vanamali Prabhu's point here is that because Prabhupada said that anyone who knows these three Vishnus will be liberated. So Krishna will be forcefully fulfill Srila Prabhupada's word because Prabhupada is a pure devotee. Well, that's nice point, but I'm looking for something else, more logically, philosophically strong. If you try to convince this to the non-devotee while you preach, they will not appreciate that. But amongst the devotees, that's a very valid point. Thank you very much, Padamali Prabhu. Anybody would like to answer that question? How, by knowing these three Vishnus, one will be free from material entanglement? Chugala Kishora Prabhu.
Yes, this material existence is there because of these three Vishnus. Otherwise, it won't be maintained. It won't be exist. So, if we know how it is, this material existence is there, means so we came to know through these three personalities, three Vishnus. So automatically we get liberated because this is not the place. These three incarnations came from someone. So we will get to know about whom they came. So like this, we'll know about Krishna and we can reach Krishna. So we'll get out of material existence.
Nice. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you so much. Most appreciated. Well, basically, these three Vishnus, they are having the biggest part, I would say, biggest part, biggest role, biggest role of the creation, material creation. So when we understand about these three Vishnus, automatically the creation comes into picture, right? The creation comes into picture. And then if we dig deeper, why creation is there? Because we, the independent jivas, we want this material world to be created. Actually, we are not belong to this material world. Why the material world is created? Because icha dvesha samutena dvandva mohena bharata. Because we want this. Icha means material desire. And dvesha means hatred or envy. We envy why only Krishna is God, why he is the only controller. I also want. Because we have this independency, minute independency, boom, there you go. Here in the material world, we can exhibit this desire. We can control something up to some extent. And if we know about these three Vishnus, that means the creation comes into picture, and we dig out again, and ultimately we understand that actually I'm not belong to this material world, and therefore I have to get out from here. Yeah. In the next chapter, in the 8th chapter, Krishna will explain the nature of the material world is Dukalayam Asaswatam. Mam upetya punarjanma Dukalayam Asaswatam Napnuvanti Mahatmana Samsiddhim Paramam Gata. So this world is full of Dukalayam. Yeah. And by understanding this, automatically we have a desire. We develop a desire that, yes, I want to go out. I want to get out from this place. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. We shall move to the next discussion. Yeah, still in Srila Prabhupada's purport to this verse. Srila Prabhupada says, generally one who does not know the signs of God, Krishna, assumes that this material world is for the enjoyment of the living entities, and that the living entities are the Purushas, the causes, controllers, and enjoyers of material energy. According to Bhagavad Gita, this atheistic conclusion is false. In the verse under discussion, it is stated that Krishna is the original cause of material manifestation. Yeah, we touched this point that we, the living entities, falsely thinking that we are the enjoyer, we are the causes, we are the controllers, and everything. Even some jivas may claim himself as God. Yeah, but when we come to understand about the root of the creation, yeah, the root of the creation is Krishna, and the root of creation is actually the cause of the creation is that because we demand from Krishna some place where we can exhibit this controlling and enjoying nature. And then text number 5, aparyamitas tvanyam prakritim vidime param jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam daryate jagat. Besides this, so in the previous verse, Krishna explained about the bahir anga, yeah, his separated material energy, the water, earth, bhumi, rapo, nalo, vayu, and everything. These 8, including the mana, buddhir, and ahankar. This is also Krishna's material energy. And this is, in this verse, Krishna explained about his internal potency, which is the jiva. Besides this, O mighty Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind, which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. So we understand in general, Krishna has 3 energies. The Bahiranga means the material world, lower energy. And then the Tatastha. Tatastha means the Jiva, or the marginal energy. Border, we are situated in between, marginal. And then the Antaranga, the internal potency of the Lord. So we understand here from this verse, Krishna explained that actually the jiva is this spirit energy. There is para prakriti and apara prakriti. So the apara prakriti is the bahiranga sakti, and then the para prakriti is the antaranga sakti, and then jiva is situated in between. Although basically jiva is actually belong to Krishna's internal potency, because it's completely spiritual. Yeah, spiritual, and it's eternal, it's always young. Yeah, nainam chindanti sasrani nainam dahati pavakaha na chainam kledayanti apo na soshayati maruta. Krishna explained this nicely in the 2nd chapter, that the soul cannot be cut by any weapon. Sastrani, sastra means weapon. Yeah, the scripture is known as sastra, weapon. Weapon for what? To cut off the material bondage. Yeah, in the 15th chapter later, we'll see Krishna explained that asanga sastrena dridena chitva, that this 3 urdhva madasakam aswatam prahur avayam, this aswata, this banyan tree, the upside down root on the top, branch downward, it can be cut off by asanga sastrena, by the asanga means the detachment, the weapon of detachment. So the word sastra means weapon. Yeah, scripture is weapon by which we can cut off our material entanglement. So the para prakriti means the jiva. So the jiva is exploiting the nature, means the jiva moves the bahiranga sakti. Okay, so the jiva is belong to Krishna's internal potency by nature, but because Krishna gives us this independency out of his love, he gives us minute independency. Therefore we can choose, we can be in the spiritual world or in the material world. Therefore we are known as the marginal, yeah, the tatastha sakti. But here Krishna clearly explains that the jiva bhuta mahabaho yayedam daryate jagat. So the living entities actually moves the inferior nature. Yeah, just like a car, although a car has all its complete part, without a driver, it will not move by itself. Yeah. Maybe in the future we will find a car will be moved by a remote control. But then who is manipulating the or manipulating the remote control? A human being, right? Uh, Maybe a car will move by itself in the future. We don't know. But behind that, there will be somebody who is doing the programming. That means there is jiva. Uh, Without jiva, the Bahiranga Sakti will not move. So para prakriti means the superior energy, the internal potency, the jiva. That's Srila Prabhupada's explanation. And then the apara prakriti, the inferior energy, yeah, the prakriti, the Bahiranga Sakti. The living entities who are exploiting the inferior energies for different purposes are the superior energy of the Lord. And it is due to this energy that the entire material world functions. The cosmic manifestation has no power to act unless it is moved by the superior energy, the living entity. Energies are always controlled by the energetic. Therefore, the living entities are always controlled by the Lord. They have no independent existence. And then the next sloka, all created beings all created beings have their source in these two natures, of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world. Know for certain that I am both the origin of the origin and the dissolution. You see, now Krishna is giving. First, Krishna gives the understanding that this material world, the ingredients come from me, and then the person who moves the material world, the jiva, also comes from me. Yeah, that means, and here in text number 6, Krishna is explaining that both this para and apara prakriti, the origin is me. Krishna, yeah, will be specifically discussed in the 10th chapter. Yeah, Aham Sarvasya Prabhava, Krishna will mention. Everything comes from Krishna, emanates from Krishna. Srila Prabhupada explained everything that exists is a product of matter and spirit. Spirit is the basic field of creation, and matter is created by spirit. Spirit is not created at a certain stage of material development. Rather, this material world is manifested only on the basis of spiritual energy. These material bodies develop because spirit is present within matter. A child grows gradually to boyhood and then to manhood because that superior energy, spirit soul, is present. Similarly, the entire cosmic manifestation of the gigantic universe is developed because of the presence of the super soul Vishnu. Yeah, that's like clear explanation by Srila Prabhupada. So the matter, material world is created in one point and will be annihilated in one point. But the spirit, the jiva, is eternal. Eternal means adi. There is no adi. There is no antaha. There is no beginning. There is no end. That's why Krishna also explained in the second chapter, na jayate mriyate va kadachin. Na jayate na mriyate means no birth and no death for the jiva because it is eternal. Interesting, Srila Prabhupada mentioned here. Similarly, the entire cosmic manifestation of the gigantic universe is developed because the presence of the super soul Vishnu. Yeah. So this universe is developed because of the presence of Lord Vishnu. Yeah. Brahma was created, the first created being, and he was confused. And then he was doing tapasya, and then Lord Vishnu appeared. Yeah. Lord Vishnu appeared and gives direction, and that's how the universe is developed. Yeah. Without Lord Vishnu, the super soul, There is no chance for anything in this material world, in this universe, will be developed. So just like the body also developed from boyhood to youth to manhood, because the soul is there. If the soul is gone, so the body is rot. All right. This verse is very, very important and quoted many times by Srila Prabhupada. This verse is establishing that nothing superior than Krishna. Mata paratharam nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya mayi sarvam idam pratam srute mani ganaiva. O conqueror of wealth, yeah. Dhananjaya. Arjuna's name here addressed as Krishna, as Dhananjaya, conqueror of wealth. There is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. Yeah. Mata paratara na anyat. Krishna says na anyat means there is no superior truth. Yeah, Krishna is the topmost, and everything rests upon Krishna. That means nothing can be separate from Krishna. Nothing can be separated from Krishna. Although we, the conditioned jiva, we want to separate from Krishna. The reason why we are here, because we want to enjoy separately from God. We want to enjoy separately from Krishna. We don't want to separate, we don't want to enjoy along with the Lord. Yeah. We have this selfish nature. But then, although seemingly we are separated from Krishna, actually we never separated from Krishna. Everything is connected with Krishna. Everything. The very fact that the Lord is in our heart, yeah. Suhridam Sarvabhutanam, Krishna says in the 5th chapter. Yeah. Suhridam Sarvabhutanam. Krishna is the well-wisher of all living entities as the Paramatma. Yeah. Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sanivisto. Ishwara Sarvabhutanam Hridese Junatistati. Many times this point repeatedly mentioned by Krishna. So that's the proof actually, although we try to be separated from Krishna, we can never be separated from Krishna. And after all, the material creation, material world is Krishna's energy. So nothing can be separate from Krishna. Srila Prabhupada explained, there is a common controversy over whether the Supreme Absolute Truth is personal or impersonal. Yeah, Nirguna and Sadguna, Saguna and Nirguna. That the personality of Godhead is the Supreme Absolute Truth is also the affirmation of the Brahma Samhita, Ishwara Parama Krishna Satchit Ananda Vigraha. The word Vigraha is actually clear. Yeah, Vigraha means having form. The impersonalist, however, argues on the strength of the Vedic version given in the Svetasvatara Upanishad 3.10. Tato yad uttara taram tad arupam. This word arupam is actually stressed so much. Arupam anamayam yadedad vidur amritaste bhavanti atetare dukam evapi yanti. In the material world, Brahma, the primeval living entity within the universe, is understood to be the supreme amongst demigods, human beings, and lower animals. But beyond Brahma, there is the transcendence who has no material form and is free from all material contamination. Anyone who can know him also becomes transcendental, but those who do not know him suffer the miseries of the material world. So you see the way how Srila Prabhupada translates this word arupam. If we just see the Sanskrit dictionary, rupa means form, arupa means without form. But Srila Prabhupada gave the translation here, no material form. Interesting, no material form. So there is Saguna and Nirguna. Yeah, because we are talking here about the absolute truth. And the Mayavadi, of course, their conclusion is that the absolute truth has no form. So the word Saguna means, guna means nature. Guna means also sometimes translated as senses. Yeah. Guna means nature. So nirguna means without nature, without material, without senses. Guna, as I mentioned, guna sometimes translated as senses. So saguna means has senses, and nirguna means without senses. But when we say nirguna, it doesn't mean that Krishna doesn't have senses. He has, but his senses is spiritual, not like our senses, limited, material, full of defect. But Krishna's senses is perfect. So what is the proof that our senses is limited? Anybody would like to answer that question? What is the proof that our senses is limited? Like my eyes are limited, nose limited, lips, tongue is limited, ear is limited. What is the proof of that limitation? Who are here?
We can uh, sometime we got illusion in very years before I attended the journey of self discovery. So they show the optical illusion photos. So in direct seeing, our eye can get the illusion. But when we hear from authorized source, so there is no illusion.
Nice. Thank you. Yeah. So sometimes we see water in the mirage. Prabhupada many times giving this example. In fact, that's actually the statement of the first verse of Bhagavatam. Janmadya Shayaton Vayaditarata Chate Shwabhigya Shwara Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye Mudyanti Suraya. Tejo Varim Ridam Yatha Vinimayo. Tejo Varim Ridam Yatha Vinimayo. So just like a person is illusion by seeing water in fire, it's mentioned in that verse. It's water, it's hot, but sometimes due to heat, we see water. Sometimes in the highway, if you see, during hot summer, far away, we see like water, in the front of us. So sometimes the deer, baby deer, in the desert would die just running for illusion, mirage. The deer see that few meters away, 100 meters or 200 meters away, there is water, and then it's run, and when it reached that place, he sees another water. He sees water in another place, and run again. It's like this, running. So that's one way how to understand that our senses is imperfect. Another thing is that how to understand that our senses really limited and imperfect is eyes is utilized, is able only to see. The ear is able only to hear. Nose can smell. Tongue can taste. Yeah, touch just to touch. But Krishna's senses is perfect. Every day during the Darshanarati we sing Angani Yasha Sakalendriya Vritti Manti Pashyanti Panti Kalanti Chiran Jaganti. So Angani Yasha Sakala Indriya. All his senses are perfect, that he can utilize his eyes to eat. Okay, we can use only our mouth and tongue to eat, but Krishna simply by glance he can eat. He can smell through his ear. Okay, this is the proof that his senses are perfect. Therefore, he is not as nirguna. His senses are perfect. Here, in one time, I was asking a devotee that because he gave me in the early days when I just came to Mayapur, so he gave me Mahaprasadam offered to Nishingadev. If you offer some puja, like big puja, you will get like dates, nuts, cashew nut, and some raisins sometimes. But this prasadam is sealed, it's unpacked. And then one devotee came and gave me prasadam. He said, Prabhu, this is prasad offered from Nishingadev. But when I see it's still packed, it's not open. Normally, if we offer something, even fruit, we peel it, we cut it nicely, yeah, offer to Krishna. And then I said, how this is prasadam? How this is prasadam? It's still sealed, it's unpacked. How this is prasadam? How it's possible? And this devotee said, Lord Nrsingadev can eat simply by glance. He eats through his eyes. So that's the proof that actually the Lord's senses is perfect. Yeah. Our senses is limited. Okay. We leave behind that discussion about arupam. Arupa means no material form. We should be clear here that the absolute truth is actually a person. Krishna is present everywhere because everything is resting on him, on his energies, just like a big factory. In a big factory, the proprietor may be out of factory, but every worker is aware that this factory belongs to such and such person, as this is possible to have always a consciousness of proprietor of the factory by the worker. Similarly, it is possible for everyone to become Krishna conscious in every activity. That is the philosophy we are trying to preach all over the world. Nah, we just completed seven slokas, and we have 15 minutes to cover another 7 slokas. So I just brief on this discussion. So from 8 to 12, knowing Krishna as the source of both material and spiritual energies. So this is how we can see Krishna, From 8 to 12, yeah. Krishna is all pervasive, all pervading. And a person who understands these sequences of these verses from 8 to 12 will be able to see Krishna in all time. Yeah. Rasohamap sukaunteya prabhasmisasi suryayoho pranava sarva vedesu sabdha ke purusam nishu. This is a very famous verse. Many times when Srila Prabhupada sipped water, and then he said like this, Rasohamap sukaunteya. Krishna is the taste of water. He is the light of the sun. Yeah, you'll see. O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound in ether and ability in man. Practically speaking, there is no conflict between personalism and impersonalism. Srila Prabhupada still dragging from the previous purport to this one about impersonalism and personalism. One who knows God knows that impersonal conception and personal conception are simultaneously present in everything, and that there is no contradiction. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya established the sublime doctrine, Achintya Veda Veda Tattva, simultaneous oneness and difference. So this is one way we can see Krishna. Krishna is the taste of water. We cannot really define what is the taste of water. If I sip this water, how is it? Then how should I describe this? Okay, if you drink sugarcane juice, you know it's the taste of sugarcane. You drink orange juice, you know it is the taste of orange. But when you drink plain water, then how you explain? There's only one explanation. How does it taste? If somebody ever asks you, how does it taste? It's Krishna. Taste is like Krishna. Taste is like Krishna. Yeah. Nobody could ever explain what is the taste of water. Plain? Plain means no taste, tasteless. It's not tasteless. It has taste. And that taste is Krishna. Yeah. Punya Gandha Prithiviyam Cha. We'll see the next verse. Yeah. The smell of earth is Krishna. Yeah. Punyo Gandha Prithiviyam Cha Tejas Chasmi Gubhavasau. Jivanam Sarvabhuteshu Tapas Chasmi Tapas Visho. I am the original fragrance of earth, and I am the heat in fire. I am the life of all that lives, of all that lives, and I am the penance of all ascetics. You see, the smell of earth is Krishna. If you smell some flower, some perfume, you may recognize, oh yeah, this is Gandharaj smell, Gandharaj flower. Oh yeah, this is marigold. But the earth, how we how we understand this smell of the earth, that is Krishna. In Krishna consciousness, we become aware that earth, water, fire, air, and every active principle of chemicals and all material elements are due to Krishna. The durations of man's life is also due to Krishna. Yeah. Mrityu sarva chara chaham. Mrityu sarva, what Krishna says. Mrityu sarva haras chaham. I'm dead for the non-believer. Yeah, Krishna says, I'm dead for the non-believer. And one's lifespan is actually arranged by Krishna. Therefore, by the grace of Krishna, man can prolong his life or diminish it. So it's up to Krishna. We may try to prolong our life, but everything is up to Krishna. Karmana daivane trena jantur deho papatai. According to our karmana, and then daiva netrena, according to Krishna's supervision. Daiva netrena, netra means eyes. Seeing, Krishna is seeing us. Daiva means the divine eyes of the Lord. So due to our karma and Krishna's supervision, we may try to prolong our life by different methods. I read one interesting article about Michael Jackson, that he predicted that he would live till 150 years. But the fact he died when he is 50. 50 is still young, actually. He has 12 doctors specifically for taking care of his health, 12 professional doctors. And then he has few men in his kitchen who he trusted to taste every dish is cooked by his chef, Michael Jackson's chef, to taste whether is it poisonous, is it healthy food. Yeah, he tried this, but then 50 years over, he predicted himself to live till 150, but it's impossible. When Krishna said chalo, that means we're gone. You cannot bargain even for a second. Okay. And then text number 10. Bijamam sarvabhutanam vidiphartha sanatanam buddhir buddhi matam asmi tejas tejas namaham. O son of Pritha, know that I am the original seeds of all existence. Yeah. Krishna will repeat this statement in the 14th chapter by saying that Aham bija pradapita. Krishna is the seed-giving father. The intelligence of the intelligent, the intelligence of the intelligent, and the prowess of all powerful men. Originally, Krishna is the source of everything, is the root. As the root of a tree maintains the whole tree, Krishna, being the original root of all things, maintains everything in this material manifestation. Srila Prabhupada's lecture. Somebody was talking with me that why should we give more credit to Krishna or God? We are also manufacturing things. It is something like watch or clock. You wind it. There is spring and it will go on. Similarly, it is going on. Everything is going on. So there is no difference between God's intelligence and our intelligence. That was his argument. So basically, Srila Prabhupada mentioning here, why we give credit to Krishna? God creates something, we also can create something. So I replied, Srila Prabhupada said, yes, there's no difference so far intelligence is concerned. But God creates one male and female, and thousands and millions of entities are coming out of those two, male and female. But you cannot manufacture a male watch and female watch so that by those two watches you can produce innumerable watches. That is not possible. That is in God's hand. So you have to prepare each and every watch. Whereas if God wants to manufacture watches, then he will make one male and one female, and out of them, many millions of watches will come out. That is the difference. You see, Srila Prabhupada's answer is mind blowing. Mind blowing. Yeah. And then next, text number 11, Balam Balavatam Chaham Kamaraga Vivarjitam Dharma Virud Bhuteshu Kamosmi Bharatarisam. Yeah. Whenever Srila Prabhupada explained about sex, he always, most of the time, quote about this. Yeah. The topic of most of the uh, devotees lecture, or let's say Bhagavatam, most of them talking about two things. One is death and one is sex. But the way how we see sex, when we discuss about sex, the way how we perceive it is actually we see it through different angle. Yeah, it is not that gross discussion. No, because Krishna mentioned here that Dharma virud bhuteshu kamo asmi. Krishna said, I'm sex. But what kind of sex? Sex which is not contradict the rules, the regulation, injunction given in the Shastra, dharma. Yeah. I'm the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I'm sex life, which is not contrary to religious principles. O Lord of the Bharatas, Krishna, Krishna calls Arjuna as the Lord of the Bharata. Bharata, Rishabha. Rishabha means the best among men. Rishabha Dev. Yeah. In the fifth canto, we find the story of Maharaj Rishabha. So Rishabha means the best amongst men. So Rishabha, Bharata Rishabha, he's the best amongst the Bharata. Sometimes we may ask a question, why not Yudhishthira is the best amongst Bharatas? Why Arjuna? Well, first is that the proof is that Lord Krishna chose Arjuna. Chose Arjuna that he want to give Arjuna this knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita. Why not Yudhishthira? All the Pandavas are devotees of the Lord. But why Lord Krishna specifically chose Arjuna? Because another consideration is that amongst the Pandavas, Arjuna is the closest friend of Lord Krishna. They are all Krishna's friends, they are all Krishna's devotees, but the closest one is Arjuna because they have the same age. Yeah. It is described that to Yudhishthira and Bhim, Lord Krishna bow down. To Arjuna, they hug each other. Nakul and Sahadev, Lord Krishna give blessing. They offer obeisances to Lord Krishna because of age differences. So amongst friends, Krishna and Arjuna. The best among Bharatas there, Arjun. And because Arjun also, is the best archer, he's the favorite of Bhismadev, he's the favorite of Dronacharya. Yeah. The strong man's strength should be applied to protect the weak, not for personal aggression. Similarly, sex life, according to religious principle, dharma, should be for propagation of children, not otherwise. The responsibility of parents is then to make their offspring Krishna conscious. Yeah. This instruction is also given by Rishabhadev. Guru Nasashat, Swajano Nasashat, Pita Nasashat, Janani Nasashat, Nasashat, Daivam Natashana Patecha Shashan, Namo Chayetya Samupetyam. So Namo Chayetya Samupetyam Ritu. If you cannot deliver your dependent from the repetition of birth and death, Guru Nasashat, you cannot become a guru. Swajano Nasashat, you cannot become a leader. Pita Nasashat, you cannot become a father. Janani, you cannot become mother. See, parents, responsibility is big, big responsibility. And the biggest responsibility is to make their kids, their children, Krishna conscious. The success of a parent is assessed by this. If you're able to make your children Krishna conscious, then you are successful. Yeah. Okay, we are running out of time. I would like to extend for another 5 minutes. Yeah. Thus, Krishna ends his description of how he is the essential or maintaining principle of various manifestations. Next verse provide a summary. Text 12 just summarized from the previous verses. Text number 8 to 11. Know that all states of being, be they of goodness, passion, or ignorance, are maintained by my energy. I'm in one sense everything, but I'm independent. I'm not under the modes of material nature, or they, on the contrary, are within me. Okay. Very quickly, text number 13 and 14. Yeah. The three modes are controlled by Krishna, therefore surrender. Deluded by the three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, the whole world does not know me, who am above the modes and inexhaustible. The whole world is enchanted by the three modes of material nature. Those who are bewildered by these three modes cannot understand that transcendental to this material nature is the Supreme Lord Krishna. Of course, we will have much detailed discussion about the three modes of material nature in chapter 14. And in fact, Lord Krishna will repeat the discussion about the modes of material nature in chapter 18. Elaborate like how they behave, how they their determination, how they speak, how they work like this. Everything will be discussed. Here is just a brief thing. Yeah. Everybody is enchanted by the modes of material nature, especially the lower modes, Tamogun and Rajagun. When even those who are in the goodness cannot understand, what hope is there for those who are in passion and ignorance? Krishna consciousness is transcendental to all these three modes of material nature, and those who are truly established in Krishna consciousness are actually liberated. Okay. Krishna, we have to understand like this. Krishna consciousness is absolutely independent from the three modes of material nature. But for those who are situated in the mode of sattva gun, in the mode of goodness, it's actually easier for them to advance in Krishna consciousness. But Krishna consciousness can be practiced from any level. It doesn't mean that first we have to elevate ourselves to the mode of goodness, then we can practice Krishna consciousness. No, anybody, any sinful man can start practicing Krishna consciousness by chanting. Yanama Sruti Matena Puman Bhava Dinir Mala Tasya Tirtha Pada Kimwa Dashanam Avashisha. Yanama Shruti Matena. Simply by hearing the name of the Lord, one's heart is become purified. Okay, that's the statement of Sukracharya in the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Therefore, the Harinam Sankirtan is actually one of the most important activities within our movement, because we are giving the chance for any random people, any random person to just hear the holy name, and that actually will give them chance to become a devotee, purified. The heart becomes pure. Yannama Shrute Matre. Matro, matro. Matro means only only by hearing, even though by chance, that still purify one's heart. Okay? So Krishna consciousness can be started from any level. It doesn't mean that we have to elevate ourselves first to goodness. But in order to advance quickly, we have to elevate ourselves to the mode of goodness. Yeah, the mode of goodness, Sattva Gun, is very favorable stepping stone for our advancement in Krishna consciousness. Having said that, Krishna consciousness still can be started from any level. But for those who are situated in the mode of ignorance and also passion, it's a bit tough for them to advance in spiritual life. Yeah. Therefore, Krishna consciousness and developing mode of goodness by following Varnashram, as Srila Prabhupada explained that why do we need to follow Varnashram? Because Varnashram will elevate ones to the mode of Sattva Guna. And in Sattva Guna, one's mind is clear, we behave properly, we eat only sattvic food, we always get up early in the morning, and it's easy for us to advance in Krishna consciousness compared to those who are in the mode of passion, those who are in the mode of ignorance, sleep too much. If we miss Mangalarati every day, how we can advance in Krishna consciousness? That's a very simple example. All right. So everybody is enchanted by the three modes of material nature. But Krishna consciousness is actually giving us hope for attaining liberation from this entanglement of the three modes. Here it is described by Krishna in the last verse of our today's discussion. Daivi hesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mam evaye prapadyante maya metam. This divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. Yeah, Durat yaya means very difficult. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Yeah. Mam evaye prapadyante. Prapadyante means surrender. No one can trace out the history of his becoming condition at a certain date in material history. Consequently, his release from the clutches of material nature is very difficult, even though that material nature is an inferior energy, because material energy is ultimately conducted by the supreme will, which the living entity cannot overcome. Another meaning of guna is rope. Guna means also rope. It is to be understood that the conditioned soul is tightly tied by the ropes of illusion. A man bound by the hands and feet cannot free himself. He must be held by a person who is unbound, because the bound cannot help the bound. The rescuer must be liberated. Therefore, only Krishna or his bona fide representative, the spiritual master, can release the conditioned soul. The word Mam Eva are also significant. Mam means unto Krishna, Vishnu only, and not Brahma or Shiva. Mam Eva. All right, this is a lecture from Srila Prabhupada. So we are tied up hands and feet with that rope of these qualities. Three, you see, it is very difficult to get out of it. Then hopelessness. No, no hopelessness. You can, how can I get rid out of it? Mam evaye prapadyante maya metam taranti. Anyone who surrenders to me, he is at once free. Anyone who becomes Krishna conscious by this way or that way, he becomes free. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So that is true. We are here in the material world just like we are in the big ocean, being tossed by big waves, and on top of that there are so many big aquatics like the whale, the sharks, that will give us dangers. Padam padam yadvi padam. Every step there is dangers in the material world, because we are influenced by these three modes of material nature. Yeah, samasritasye padapalava plava mahat padam punya yasho murari bhavam buddhir vatsa padam param padam 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 yadvi padam patesa. Although this material world is full of dangers, yeah, but natesam, but not for those who samasritasye padapalava plava, taking shelter of Lord Krishna's lotus feet. Plava means to cross over. For them, it's easy to cross over this vast material ocean because we are taking shelter on the boat of Lord Krishna's feet. Mahad Padam, because his lotus feet is great, can give us shelter. Mahad Padam Punya Yasho Murari is glorified as the enemy of the demon Murari. He is killing all the demons. So also he kills the demon within our mind. Nyayasho Murari Bhavam Bude Vatsa Padam. This big ocean of material world will shrink, will become small into a size of water contained in the print of a hoof cup. So this big water ocean will become small, just like this little water contained in the hoof print of a calf. That's it, easy. The key word here is that Mam Evaye Prapadanti. Krishna said, Mam, it's me, not any other personalities. It's me. Take shelter only to me. Prabhupada said, not Brahma, not Shiva, but only Krishna, Vishnu. Yeah, iti pumsar pita Vishnu bhakti chinava lakshana. Prahlad Maharaj said that these 9 processes of devotional service should be connected to Vishnu, iti pumsar pita Vishnu, not any other personalities. All right, so the 3 modes is very, very strong. But if we take shelter of the master of the 3 modes of material nature, the master of Maya, then there is possibility to cross over the material ocean. All right, I thank you very much for being patient. Are there any final questions? If there is question, I'll take only one question. Otherwise, we can stop here and then we'll see you again on Thursday evening at the same time. Hare Krishna. Okay, no questions? Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa Patitanam